bulletin board at Town Hall and filed with the office of the town clerk of the town of Morristown. I do further state that I shall enter into the minutes of this meeting a statement that such notice was furnished as particularly described by me in this public announcement. Roll call. Mr. Armington.
Present.
Ms. Davis.
Here.
Ms. Deeb. Mr. Elms.
Present.
Mr. Iannacone.
Here.
Mr. Silva.
Present.
Council President Foster.
Here.
Okay.
Thank you. Now I'd like to ask for a moment of silence this time. And then I'll
Madam-
turn it over to Councilman Michael Elms.
Thank you, Madam President. On Friday, March 2nd, a beautiful young woman and resident of Morris Township passed away after an exhaustive and brave 3-year battle with brain cancer. Her name was Hedda Syvertson, and she was 15 years old. Hedda endured multiple surgeries and attempts to remove the tumor in her brain. She narrowly survived multiple rounds of chemotherapy and radiation. At one point during her treatment, Hedda lost her hearing and was legally deaf for almost a month. During her illness, the tumor in her brain grew so aggressively that it pressed against her spinal cord, crushing the nerves in her legs and rendering her paralyzed from the waist down for the last year of her life. From the age of 12 to the very end of her short life, Hedda suffered and endured more than any of us in this room could ever imagine. Hedda was an inspiration to our community. I'm proud to say that once informed of Hedda's circumstances, our community came together, rallied around Hedda, and sprang into action. It was for Hedda that you probably have seen beautiful turquoise ribbons tied around trees, mailboxes, and lampposts. A GoFundMe page for Hedda received a total of 541 donations, totaling $58,200. Hedda was a beautiful soul, mature beyond her years, and always caring about others. She was an inspiration to thousands. Students at Frelinghuysen Middle School and Morristown High, peers at her church, and members of her ski team at Mountain Creek. She inspired people both locally and worldwide and has taught many of us what it really means to be a fighter and to live and love with grace. Hedda will be sadly missed, but remembered always. She's now free of her illness and finally at peace. For tonight's meeting, I have asked Council President if she would do Hedda Syvertson the honor of observing a full 1-minute moment of silence. Madam President has indicated that she's happy to oblige for this special young lady, and I sincerely thank you for that.
No problem. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Now I ask everybody to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We have 3 items on the consent agenda this evening.
I'd like to make a motion. Second.
Okay. On the adoption of the consent agenda, Mr. Armington?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Elms?
Yes.
Mr. Iannacone?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Council President Foster?
Yes. At this time, we'll move into our public hearing. Are there any members of the public wishing to be heard on this evening? If so, please come before us, state your name and address for the record. Billy?
Day 29th?
My name is Bill Byrne, and I live at 100 Franklin Street, apartment E110, Morristown. And I'm here to talk about people jaywalking. I was taking a taxi home, and people just jaywalk right in front of the taxi, man. And you know, and the light's red, and the thing, you know, says don't walk. And, you know, it's a miracle that nobody has gotten killed. Say this again, we got to get law enforcement to enforce the law, because it's really getting out of hand. People just jaywalking all over the place, you know, and obviously we don't have any rules in place. So I don't know what it's gonna take, but somebody's gonna get killed. Mark my words, somebody's gonna get killed. And then it's gonna be on law enforcement's job. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Billy.
you, Bill. Any other members of the public wishing to be heard? Seeing none, I'll close the public up.
I want to speak regarding jaywalking. At the corner of Franklin, just now, Franklin and Elm, Allison Deeb, private citizen, Windmill Pond. I'm going straight, I have a green light. Pedestrians walking toward Town Hall on Franklin, I have a green light. She's in the crosswalk, and I'm driving, and green is go. I slow down because if I didn't, I would have hit her. And she yells at me and says, I have the right of way. And I said, I'm a driver, and it's a green light, and I'm going in the direction of the green light. And she yelled at me and said, you're wrong. And I said, no, I'm not. I'm driving in my car. I have the green light. I think green is go. What are you doing? She goes, I have the right of way. So my question for you is, doesn't the car that has a signal with a green light have the right of way in a crosswalk? I understand that pedestrians, when they're crossing in crosswalks without signals, have the right of way. But if we're driving in our cars, and then which way is it? Because right now, it's a double standard. So some education has got to be done with some people who I think are jeopardizing drivers. What about my rights as a driver? So I'm sorry, I was late for that reason. And I have very good vision with my glasses. But as far as I'm concerned, that pedestrian was wrong. I did not deserve to be yelled at, and I'd like this council to react.
Thank you, Allison.
Marge?
Well, Pastor Williams was coming first.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Pastor Sidney Williams, pastor of Bethel AME Church here in Morristown. I came to share tonight that this year Bethel is celebrating 175 years being in this community, established in 1843. On June 9th, we'll celebrate Juneteenth with a townwide celebration from Speedwell Village to the Green to South Street. I believe Greg Procastro has been in touch with your office about the needs we have for that townwide celebration. It's going to be a festive occasion. I have a few copies to share. And I look forward to seeing your participation. We've received grants from the New Jersey Historical Society, the New Jersey Council for the Humanities, and the Morris County Heritage Commission, and we've also partnered with Drew University. Our celebration will culminate with a library exhibit at the Morristown Library from October through December, as well as a symposium at Drew University and a concert. So a lot of activities. I have a few brochures there. I'll share more with the town clerk so that you all can participate. Thank you.
Thank
Can you
you.
state your address for the record? I'm
Sure.
sorry.
39 Hillary Avenue is my home address, and the church is at 59 Spring Street. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll call you up in a minute.
Marge?
Margaret Brady, 1 Franklin Place. I wasn't going to speak tonight, but Allison brought up one of my pet peeves about our crosswalks in Morristown, because the pedestrian at Franklin Street probably did have the right-of-way. The same problem you have when you come down James Street and you make a right onto South Street. There's pedestrian crosswalk is signaled so that you're not allowed to walk while the light is green or red, but as soon as the light turns green, you may walk. And the walk sign for pedestrians goes on to walk. So if you follow the signs, you have to, when you're crossing from Franklin to Elm, the you can walk sign does not go on until the light for the automobiles is green. That's just the way, it's the same way at James and South. Sometimes at James Street, you're not allowed to make a right on red. So I've had cars behind me beeping because the crosswalk sign says people can cross. The other day, an old man with a walker trying to get across the street, who waited until the crosswalk sign said he could walk, almost got hit by a car who beeped at him, because I guess a lot of the automobiles don't see the walker sign. They see the light in front of them, and the walker sign is on the street.
Thank you, Marge. Any other comments from members of the public? You got to come before us.
I just want to say,
You got to state your name and your address for the record.
hi, everybody. I'm Rhonda.
Hi,
Dorsey
Rhonda.
Willoughby. Everybody knows me. Hi.
No, we don't know you.
You know me to stop. But anyhow.
Could I have the name and address, please?
Rhonda Dorsey.
My name is Rhonda Dorsey Willoughby, Allison, you know me. I live on Flagler Street. But I just want to say what they're saying, there's quite a few lights like that where the driver gets green and the walk sign comes on. So it's not just that location, it's quite a few locations in Morristown that has that. So I just wanted to
Make it right.
bring that to your attention. So it's not a one section of Morristown, it's quite a few. And there are pedestrians that will walk right in front of your car as you're moving, so as a little education.
Thank you.
No, you're right.
I appreciate it.
Little education, it's happened to me. And I just said, Lord, just help them. Bye.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you, Rhonda. If there are no other members of the public wishing to speak tonight, I will close the public portion. All right, moving on to mayor's proclamations. Mayor, you have a proclamation on schedule for this evening?
Council response to public
Oh,
hearings?
sorry, you wanted to respond to any members of the public?
Yeah, wearing my councilwoman hat now. I think it's very confusing as a driver these days, because sometimes if the green light is green, we're not really trained as drivers to be looking at the crosswalks. We're looking at the signal in front of us. So I would like the administration to look at at least the 2 intersections that were named. If there are others that have been cited for public record, I really would appreciate it. With all respect to Ms. Brady's comment, she wasn't there. She didn't witness my incident, so I don't appreciate the comment that I was in the wrong. I think that if that green light is green and we are traveling north on Elm Street, green is go. And so if a pedestrian walks in the crosswalk while we have a green light, it's a problem mechanically with the signal. So I would like the administration to look at that signal and to make sure that,
I'm sorry, I'm just making sure.
unless I'm not understanding the law correctly, if there's a traffic signal.
So what I can do for you is Anthony's going to, the engineer is going to go check several intersections and the lights. When the lights turn green, the pedestrian cross should go red.
Thank you.
So he's going to check several, make sure that they're not out of
Thank you, Mayor. I really
sequence.
appreciate it. It's not just when they turn green, though, it's the duration of the signal, because it hadn't just turned green, the light was green.
He'll do
I
several
was-
intersections.
Do you know what I mean? Okay, we'll talk off, okay. Thank you, I
No
appreciate it.
problem.
Any other council members have any comments to or responses to the public hearing? Now, Mayor, you can move on to your proclamation.
And then I'll respond to the table.
I know you did.
So, we're here to read a proclamation into the record. I think Ron just want to take a couple pictures. So I'm going to read it into the record and then say a few words, and I'll have the pastor say a few words. And when you give the mic to the pastor, say a few words. We may be here till about 9 o'clock. If you've ever been to this pastor's sermon, it is not going to be a 2-minute sermon. No, it's very powerful preaching. Whereas, the African Methodist Episcopal Church of Morristown was established on December 18, 1843. And it is a matter of record that prior to December 18, 1843, a small group of parishioners known as the Bethel Mite Society worshiped from various places in Morristown. And in 1844, let's see if I get this name right, William Sayer Jr. conveyed a parcel of property on Spring Street in Morristown, New Jersey, to the Bethel Mite Society. And on September 28, 1859, a certificate of incorporation was filed under the name African Methodist Episcopal Bethel Church of Morristown. And the present property at 59 Spring Street was donated by John R. Piper and his wife by deed dated June 20th, 1874. And the property was lost to George L. Hull at a sheriff's sale on June 12th, 1876, and then conveyed to the YMCA of Morristown on September 7th, 1878. And services continued on this site until the church was able to purchase the 59 Spring Street property in 1943. It was at that time that the church was given the name of Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church. And Bethel AME Church has become an important pillar and vital part of the Morristown community. And whereas, in honor of Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church's 175th anniversary, various celebrations are scheduled through June through October 2018, including an April 21st, 2018 prayer walk and a June 9th, 2018 Juneteenth celebration. Now therefore, I, Timothy P. Doherty, Mayor of the Town of Morristown, do hereby proclaim October 2018 as Bethel AME Month in the Town of Morristown and call upon all its citizens to recognize the Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church for its most important and vital service to the Town of Morristown and the surrounding communities. Congratulations. I'm just going to make a couple of quick comments. Those who don't know Pastor Williams, you should go to his services. He's passionate, brings a lot of great to our community. And those who don't know, he also has what they call Table of Hope, which is feeds homeless. They're there every night, whether it's 5 people, 8 people, 20 people, 2 people. They're feeding the needy. And that's what it's really all about, the mission that you bring to this community. On top of the nonprofit that you have, you do a lot that people aren't aware of. So those council members, you should go down there and I've done on occasion, go feed, serve, and actually eat, because the food's pretty good. And I know, where's Donna? I saw Donna come in here. She's always down there. But it's a treasure, and we owe gratitude to this pastor for what he brings to our community and stays focused on helping our community.
The members of Bethel, if you'd like to stand, who've come out this evening. It is an honor to receive this proclamation. Thank you. There have been many families over the years that have kept Bethel going. The one thing that many people don't realize, that in 1841, the Morristown Presbyterian Church split. That's why we have two buildings. Out of that, Frances Jane Ray, who was baptized and married in the Presbyterian Church, but due to racism and issues of slavery and Jim Crow and segregation, she felt it necessary to leave the Presbyterian Church after their split, and she's our founder. And we are working diligently, and I ask for your support. She's buried in Evergreen Cemetery without a tombstone. We're asking that Evergreen Cemetery make an exception. We've met with the Presbyterian Church, and they've agreed to help pay for the cost of a proper tombstone for the founder of our church. And so if you know any of the trustees at Evergreen, please encourage them. She was not, as they told me, she was buried in shame because she's buried in a grave where poor people died. I said, well, maybe the shame is racism in this country. But she did not die in shame. She had 5 sons who fought in the Civil War, and she's a founder of Bethel, and 175 years later, we're still standing. And for a woman to do that, prior to the Emancipation Proclamation, while slavery was still happening in New Jersey, I think she deserves the honor, and I'm glad to stand on her shoulders.
Okay, moving on to the report of mayor and town officials.
Okay, again, I'd like to thank Bethel for coming out and supporting this great anniversary. And you think about all the history of Morristown, a key part that Bethel has played and will continue to play. Thank you, Pastor. Thank you for all coming out and supporting the pastor. Just quickly on the jaywalking, we've had this, Chief and I have had this discussion. It's something that is not just here. I drive down Broad Street in Newark, and they just walk across the street on Broad Street in Newark. It's a culture that people just don't seem to understand, that they put their lives at risk when they jaywalk. I've seen parents taking their little kids running across the middle of the street. And I must admit, there's probably sometimes I'm guilty of it, and I do try to use the crosswalks as often as I can the correct way. And it's something that I think that we should think about how we can do an education piece on it. And we'll have Jill, our business administrator, talk to the police chief on doing some type of educational program out there to try to get people to understand that jaywalking is dangerous to not only them, but the people that drive the cars that could hit someone, and the emotional damage that does to that person when they hit somebody with a car. Okay, that's enough on that note. Mark your calendars, March 18th, 9 a.m. annual firefighters mass. That's March 18th, 9 a.m. at St. Virgil's. Breakfast will be at the Fairchild Fire Company. See Mike Geary at the Speedwell Firehouse for tickets. You can call the office. I'm sure they'll get in touch. Chief is here, I think. Deputy Chief and Chief is here. It's a great thing. It's a great breakfast. I've pretty much gone almost every year since I was council, so I'll be there. Saturday, March 24th, those who can join us, is the March of Our Lives. It starts and ends here at Town Hall. There's going to be anywhere between 2,000 to 5,000 young kids, high school age, marching in unison to the nation, which is the National March, March 24th, on the results of what has taken place since the Parkland shooting, and how the high school, the children are now, young adults are taking this forward, and on the whole gun issue and all the mass shootings in this country, and they're standing up for enough is enough. So I will be there. There'll be some other dignitaries there, I believe. I don't know for sure, but I believe the minority whip may be coming from D.C. To march, and that is a big a big thing if the minority whip is coming up here from DC to march in Morristown. I hope that happens. That's what I was told. There'll probably be a few more dignitaries in that march, but please, I think it's a great cause. I think the young woman was here at the last meeting that you all heard her speak, and so we will be kicking that off 11 a.m. here at Town Hall. Council President, I will not be here for the last council meeting of the month, and I will not be here for the 10 a.m. annual Easter egg hunt, which is on Saturday, March 31st. Will you do the honors of the Easter egg hunt?
Yeah, I heard I'll have to MC. Those are big shoes to fill, but I think I can handle
It's at Ledgerwood Park for those for the Cable and for the Kevin. The annual Easter egg hunt, 10 a.m. at Ledgerwood Park. April 3rd at 6:15. That's a Tuesday at 6:15. Financial literacy workshop at the Morris and Morris Township Library. Again, that's 6:15. April 3rd. Financial literacy workshop. Then, of course, something that's dear to my heart, but different day. The date's not marked on here. Recreation annual fishing contest. It'll be. I don't know if you have the date. 8 a.m. to noon at Burnham Park Pond. It's an every year thing. The annual fishing contest. A lot of fun, and it's nice when the council members show up and say hello to the moms and the dads and the kids out there trying to catch a trout. It's kind of fun. Also, on the 24th of March, 38 Headley Road is going to be an open house from 12 to 2. That's our auction. April 7th is the fishing derby. April 7th. That's at Burnham Park, 8 a.m. 38 Headley, 12 to 2 on the 24th of March. That's an open house. That's the auction, the house we're auctioning off. If you want to do a walkthrough, it's an open house. And also on Thursday, the 29th, again, 12 to 2 for that auction, that open house for the auction of the house we're selling on Headley Road. On that note, I would just want to just take 1 minute and not talk about how frustrating dealing with electric is in any community, but these two back-to-back storms was Morristown was hit very hard. I want to commend all divisions. I'll start with the police department. They were out there pushing cars in the snow, actually, with a couple officers. They were getting people to move off the state road so the plows can come through. They were out in the middle of that storm. But I gotta tell you that, Chief, why don't you and your deputy come up here for a minute? And DPW is not here, but we're gonna do something for these guys. Right in front of the mic. I want these guys to hear all the stuff that you guys did. If it was not for the fire department and DPW and the police making sure people stayed off of certain areas, we'd still probably be out of power in a lot of areas. They cleared roads. They took trees out of so many places that were across roads. They were out checking on houses, working with DPW hand in hand to get our roads open. Working with JCP&L we were on the phone on an hourly basis, calling JCP on every hour on getting our power up. I can tell you guys, and you probably knew it before me, that there's no more houses out of power in Morristown. But the last one only got powered up a few hours ago. So it has been a long process. The fire department and DPW and the police should be commended. And we will not let this go unnoticed. The business administrator and I have already talked about doing something for all you guys. This would not have happened without the service from the fire department, the DPW, and the police department. They made Morristown safe. They made it, made it mobile. You could get around. People, up until just the other night with News 12, there was still a road closed with a power line down. News 12 out there trying to embarrass JCP&L, and sure enough, they showed up, guys from West Virginia. I want to also publicly thank the crews from West Virginia, Maryland, Ohio that are in our town, that were in our town for the whole week, putting people's power back together. You have to, I can't put in words other than if you lost power for 5-7 days, the frustration on residents' lives, the psyche change in the way they have to deal with this power. People take electric for granted, and we shouldn't. But everybody thinks you flip a white light switch and the lights go on, and you don't think about it. How crucial it is. How crucial electrical is. So I just want to publicly thank you guys, thank the police chief to pass on to his police department, and we will pass on to DPW the amazing work that you guys did, your whole fire department. Amazing work, well above your call of duty, and it won't go unnoticed. And I wanted to publicly thank you in the public realm. So thank you very much, both of you.
I'm gonna miss talking to you 40 times a day.
Yeah, I know. And it's literally 40 times a day. When he's not kidding, it was 40 times. We didn't even include the business administrator because it was just too hectic to try to. So the last thing I'm going to say, because it's not a long agenda tonight, I want the council to seriously consider this, to come up with our own plan and strategy, how we are going to deal with trees that are hollowed out near power lines, because 95%, right, of all the trees, Chief, were hollowed out or diseased. These storms, again, are going to continue to get worse, not just the winter, but the storms. Remember how violent the storms were in the summer? The microbursts and the power loss we had in the summer? We have to start thinking for ourselves in the sense of what can we do as a community with our Shade Tree Environmental Commission, our council, and how we deal with dealing with these trees, because it's very difficult for people to be without power for a week. It really is. Not every, and I don't, you guys have been in Morristown some longer than I, and Chief can maybe attest to this. I don't remember growing up with generators. I just don't remember growing up with everybody had generators in their backyards. So what have we become? We've become, reliable, like, well, if the power goes out or the pole goes down, then we just get a generator.
I'm scared of generators.
So, a resident said to me the other day, and I'll end on this. He said, a limb came down, hit the wires, and the wires went down, but they didn't go down. They snapped the pole in half. So, and he's been here 42 years, and he knows the pole's been here a lot longer than 42 years. So we need to hold our power companies responsible to check their poles, their lines, their trees, the maintenance, and I think that's where we fall short in what we're dealing with here. And I know that the BPU is doing big meetings in all over the state. Morris is going to be one of the BPU held meetings. I think we all should go there. All your constituents got affected by this. This was everywhere in town, somebody lost power. Everywhere. Trees, power lines. It was, and not just here, everywhere. So I just wanted to put that out there. These guys did an amazing job, and it took a week, but I'm telling you, the damage that was done by these two storms was as bad as Sandy. You agree, Chief? It might even been worse in the amount of tree damage. So we need to address this once and for all on how we're dealing with diseased trees, hollow trees, and then this is where I'll get in a little trouble. The big question is, how do we get the public to buy into having their trees inspected? Because a lot of our lines in our town are in backyards. How do we work with the public? Because people don't have money to take, it costs a lot of money to take trees down. But maybe JCP&L can be responsible in a way to help fray the cost. I'm just throwing it out there.
Or rewire some of those wires.
They're old.
Because you saw it. I mean, about a third of the houses were spot houses because of wires going across yards into people's backyards and the trees falling there.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right.
Yeah.
I'd actually like to know what the role of JCP&L in this is, to get the wires actually rewired along the street as opposed to within. I mean, you go down Franklin, for example, you go down Georgian, you go down Abbott Lane, you've got those wires, they're not along the curb.
No.
Wires feeding other homes are crossing other lots.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. Why not bring JCP&L back and also to see where do we have the wires routed in this town to make them less exposed?
Yeah, I think we that, or we're going to live in a world where this has become the norm, and everybody go out and hire an electrician and get yourself a generator. And you know what, a lot of people have, and it's become the norm. I remember the chief saying to me just the other day, we're up dealing with a neighborhood that was not in the best of spirits. And he remembers as a kid, you lose the power, you lose it for an hour.
But we should also bring insurance companies to the table, and maybe, because the money that the insurance companies are going to be paying the next month is 200 times more than the cost of doing preparation work, just like you're suggesting.
Yeah, so I think that's the key, and I think that when the BPU holds their meeting, and they'll be announcing it very shortly, that I would love to see some council members come with me and state the facts. These are brittle lines, they're old lines, they're old poles, there's I don't know how much maintenance gets done. I mean, granted, look, there are power company, but the parent company is in Ohio. So when PSE&G loses crews or loses power, their crews are coming from South Jersey. JCP&L is not bringing crews from South Jersey, they're bringing crews from West Virginia, Ohio, from other states, because they don't have the crews like in PSE&G has in New Jersey. And believe me, Rob Walton and Bob will tell you, and Ms. Barrick will tell you, Rob Walton, who is our representative from JCP&L, is an outstanding representative for JCP&L. He was with us on the phone, 50 times a day, doing everything he humanly possibly could. But he has, big areas that were out of power, and big areas, big trees, big transmission lines, everything got hit. So I don't even think they're all up yet, right, in the county? No, there's still people out of power from two nor'easters. So that's enough of me on this tangent, but I'll let you know when the meeting is, and I hope you can join me.
If I can just add something about undergrounding, Windmill Pond is all underground, and half of our development was out of power. So just because you have underground wires doesn't necessarily mean that you're home free.
That's right.
So I think that it's a very complicated engineering matter. And another thing I heard on the conference call was that it would cost $1 million per mile, that's the term they use, if they were to do undergrounding. As a result of Sandy and Irene, someone asked the question, what is the capital investment, and has it been considered, and should we do undergrounding in more densely populated areas and more areas like Morristown? And it was considered after Sandy and Irene, but it is very costly. So the question becomes, do people want to pay more for their power? Do they want their electric bill to go up another 30% or 40% or not? Or does the state government come in and do some incentivization? I think the next step is the BPU hearings, and that's at the state level, and the BPU can institute fines. That's one of the ways they would regulate the power company after they do an investigation, if they feel that it's warranted. So right now, they can issue fines, and it's like, hypothetically, $100 a day if you don't eradicate the situation. Well, one proposal is to increase the fines. And if you increase the fines, it's like if you have a parking ticket, if you know you're going to get fined $5 or you know you're going to get fined $100, you're not going to park in a handicapped parking spot. So there's, the next step, as the mayor says, is the investigation. And I know the last time I spoke at the hearing, and the JCP&L implemented a lot of our ideas, some of which got implemented. And so one of the things I think we have to hold them accountable on is, what have they done since Sandy? What preparations have been made? Has the tree trimming been done that they're supposed to be doing? And let's hold them accountable, and let's find out. And as the mayor said, I think if you want to address the trees, I think we have to work closely with the Shade Tree Commission and make sure that we're all on the same page.
You know, the Councilwoman brings up a good point. So there's 1,000 things, or I think it's up to 1,000 since Sandy, that these power companies are supposed to institute prior to major storms. And I think that's probably the first thing they'll investigate, was what was done prior to these storms coming. But they bring up a good point. So after Sandy, they obviously reinforced our power station, which we lost in one of the hurricanes. And they've clearly invested millions of dollars in our infrastructure, in our business district, and our networking down below. But it really comes down to the basic facts are this. Most of our power went out, and the chief will back me up on this, was caused by trees. And 9 out of 10 were hollow or diseased. It's that simple. It's not, so we have a responsibility as a government to look at how we can alleviate, say we alleviated 50% of the outages. You know, that's a great improvement. So I think we're on to something. I think we'll talk to JCP&L, we'll talk to you guys, Shade Tree, Environmental, we'll try to figure it out and improve.
Just at the same time, you know, post Sandy, there has been some public outcry as to the extent of tree trimming that JCP&L has done, and we've asked them to sort of tone it back a little bit, and so it's a balancing act.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay. Sorry for the length of time.
It's okay. Any reports from town officials?
I'm sorry. Parking Authority actually met last week. Just a few things. They did go through parking counts and the demand for parking. We're actually at about a 70% capacity level right now. And they are working with the Morristown Partnership to provide parking for Restaurant Week.
Yes, they are.
No other council liaison reports?
So
All right.
The Morristown Environmental Commission met last Monday. They discussed the second annual Mayor's Lakeside Cleanup is going to be May 19th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And Anthony DeVizio, our town engineer, gave us a very quick debriefing on the Foots Pond hydrology study. My understanding is that a draft report is done, but apparently it's going to be until May or June until we can get a full report. So I guess my question for the administration is there any way we can move up that briefing to the council sooner? Because if you've seen the pond recently, it's practically near the roadway.
Right. As I shared with you earlier, the report is very dense. It's almost 500 pages. Our engineer is going through the results of the report and is going back and forth with the company that's doing the analysis. And once that process is completed, then we'll be prepared to give you a final report. But it's going to take some time to get through that.
Okay, if there are no other council liaison reports, moving on to calendar of events. Any council members have any events they'd like to share with the public?
I would like to share an event. I'm going to be speaking on canine communication for the 4-H Science Fair, and it's the day of the march. So that is why I won't be at the march, because I will be teaching. So if you have any young kids, K through 5, that aren't going to be at the march, it's going to be held at the County College of Morris, and it's the Morris County 4-H Science-sational Day, and it's all science, everything science. And I think there's a small fee, but it's there's 2 groups, K through 3, and then 3 through 6, and there's everything from science, animals, all different things. So if you haven't heard about it, it's the 10th annual science. It's like a science fair, but they call it Science-sational Day. So I just want to put a plug for that because it's a really fun event, and
And, you know, I realize there's some people on the council that don't like dogs. I didn't mean to push dogs, but I'm teaching that little module. So, but yeah, there's all different, everything's science. So if you know any children that might be interested, it'd be a great event.
Do you have a flyer that you can send to?
I
Get a flyer? You can
left it at home. I do not, but I will
Send it to
forward
us.
it to the clerk. And
Okay.
All right.
Okay. For regular business, we have no ordinances for introduction this evening. We have one ordinance for adoption. I offer ordinance number 05-2018, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 13, Housing and Property Maintenance Code for public hearing and adoption.
I'd like to make a motion. Second. Any members of the public wishing to be heard on ordinance number 05-2018? Seeing none?
Okay. Are we ready for the vote?
Yes.
Okay, on 05-2018, Mr. Armington,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Deeb,
yes.
Mr. Elms,
Yes.
Mr. Iannacone,
Yes.
Mr. Silva,
Yes.
Council President Foster.
Yes.
Ordinance passes. Okay, we have two resolutions for adoption this evening.
I'd like to ask if there are no council members who have questions, if we just vote on those en masse.
Okay. First resolution, resolution number R67, 2018, resolution authorizing an award of contract to Bobcat of North Jersey through the Middlesex Regional Educational Services Commission, and resolution R68, 2018, a resolution authorizing the award of bid to Waters and Bugbee General Contractors for a portion of the Tree Well Rejuvenation Project.
I'll make a motion. Second.
Okay. Mr. Armington?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Deeb?
Yes.
Mr. Elms?
Yes.
Mr. Iannacone?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Council President Foster?
Yes. Moving on to unfinished business, we have the Morristown Housing Authority appointment, unexpired term ending September 5th, 2018. Are there any nominations at this time? Then I'd like to nominate Alton Robertson.
I'd like to nominate Cecilia Hale. But before I do, I have a question. This morning, I received a letter earlier today addressed to the mayor. It's regarding the Morristown Housing Authority, and I just was wondering why the letter wasn't in the correspondence. The letter's dated March 1st, and it's a letter from,
It's not addressed to the council, it's addressed to the mayor.
it addresses the council members in the letter, and it should have been in council correspondence. And the letter's dated March 1st, and I just was wondering why it wasn't in the council correspondence.
The letter was addressed to the mayor.
So, for the record, the letter was addressed to the mayor, and it references the council members, the town council members, and tells us what our duties are, and it should have been copied to the council and shared with the council. So, given that no one else has seen the letter, I would like to table the vote until this letter is shared with everybody. I'd like to make a motion. Is there a second on my motion? The letter clearly, I think, should be reviewed by all the council members. It's from the HUD. Fine, then I will be abstaining from the vote then.
So did you nominate Cecilia or no?
Yes.
Well, if she's abstained, is she
Well, I'm-
allowed to still
okay.
nominate?
I mean, but
I guess my question is for the administration, why wasn't the letter shared under council correspondence?
As far as I know, the letter was addressed to me, not the council, and my office has spoken to HUD, and they said maybe they'll come up April or May to meet with me, not you.
So it references
That's all I know about
the
the letter.
officials of the town council.
Whatever
So
it states in the letter, it wasn't addressed to you, it was addressed to the mayor.
shared
It shouldn't
letters from the
probably be
mayor
addressed
before.
Listen, I have no idea.
Can we have some order,
So
please?
I'd like to hear from the administration as to
I'm
why
trying to get you
it
some
wasn't
clarity, but we
shared.
don't want to have the back and forth, so either are you
I have
done?
no idea, I'm done.
Council, do you have anything that you'd like to share that you can advise us before we take the vote?
I've had a chance to review the letter, and I did not give the mayor direction to share it with the council. I thought the letter was written in response to an initial correspondence the mayor had written some time ago, and we have since scheduled a meeting with HUD to come to Morristown to discuss a wide range of issues. That's it.
That's it?
Well, Council President, the letter clearly talks about some significant risks to the town. It talks clearly about substandard performance. It talks clearly about a potential lawsuit against the town, and our attorney is telling us that it's not our concern.
So I guess my
I have a
question-
real problem. So I'll abstain. I don't want to get into the contents of the letter, but I'm very sorry to hear that this wasn't copied, because this is an extremely valuable resource to our town. These are really poor people. And
they're not really poor people. I'm actually one of those
I
people,
think
and we're
that-
not really poor people.
That these are
You're
people
speaking
that
about a
need
situation
housing.
that you're not
and
really clear about.
I don't view making these appointments lightly,
our
and in
attorney.
the past, we've talked about
Allison.
waiting to make appointments until we've resolved the issues at
Are
the
you
Housing
gonna
Authority.
abstain?
And apparently, we're not waiting, so.
Are you going to abstain? You'd
I
like-
just have a question.
Okay.
A question for the attorney. Having not seen the letter, would it be beneficial to not have a full board? Would not having a full board address some of the items in the letter, or is there no relationship?
The letter is in large part stating the mayor's and council's responsibility with respect to nominations and with respect to having a complete board. So the action that you're contemplating tonight would be in furtherance of the letter's objectives.
Thank you.
Nominations and removing commissioners that are
I'd like to just-
underperforming. I just want to
Allison.
clarify for the record, nominating as well as removing.
Okay, so.
Okay.
I have a nomination, Alton Robinson.
And I would like to bring up Cecilia Hale, who I've
you're
brought
not-
up
Even
before.
though she's abstaining.
So, yes, I nominate Cecilia Hale. I've brought her name up several times before.
Okay.
Thank you.
My understanding is that the council person Deeb is nominating but abstaining.
Yes.
I'm going to
That's
vote
exactly right.
for Cecilia Hale.
No, you don't want to abstain then.
You can't
Just,
abstain.
you can call the question for Cecilia Hale first alphabetically, and then Allison Robertson.
Anybody else?
Any other nominations?
Okay. So for the nomination of Cecilia Hale, Mr. Armington?
No.
Ms. Davis?
No.
Ms. Deeb?
Yes.
Mr. Elms?
No.
Mr. Iannacone?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
No.
No?
No.
Council President Foster?
No.
Okay. On the nomination of Alton Robinson, Mr. Armington?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Deeb?
Abstain.
Mr. Elms?
Yes.
Mr. Iannacone?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Council President Foster?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry. Can I say something? Is that possible? No?
I think
No,
the
we
issue is
just-
closed.
I'll wait.
All right, we have no new business. Correspondence, everybody received.
Question on the correspondence. I wonder if the administration or perhaps the liaison to the parking authority can provide us with a schedule of the payments in lieu of taxes from the parking authority? Is there, I assume there's a set schedule and this conforms to that schedule?
We can provide
Yeah.
more information.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, it does. It was actually reviewed at the last meeting. This is the quarterly payment in lieu of taxes. So there was a pilot associated with the property back in the day, along with, I guess, some other properties in that same region, Mayor, I think. And this
Yeah, just looking for like to hear the.
Madam President,
Yes.
if there are no other items, I would like to take a quick moment before we adjourn.
Of course you can.
Thank you. We have present our new Director of Code Enforcement, Al Chiafo, who's here at his first council meeting, so I wanted to introduce him to the council. Will you stand up and say hello?
Okay.
He started with us last Monday and has hit the ground running. We're very excited to have him here.
Welcome. Looking forward to seeing all the great work you're going to be doing.
One comment, Council President? Well, you need to clarify, we need to clarify the record.
Okay.
So before I leave tonight, I want you all to know you weren't copied on that letter because you weren't copied on the letter. That letter went to the housing commissioners. How the councilwoman got it is up to how she got it, but it wasn't sent to you. That's why you don't have it. It was sent to the mayor and the housing commissioner, so somebody gave her that letter. And if she wants to tell us what commissioner gave it to her,
It was Angel Vega, because he sent
There you
me
go.
information about it too. He tried to get me to talk to him about it today.
there you
actually.
go. So it wasn't
the
sent to you.
record.
That's why it was not in your correspondence. Am I clear on that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying.
Well-
Motion to adjourn?
Yes, second.
And Allison, just for the record, just because people